Old man here, and the packages keep rolling in. Let's open up another one. Coming right up. We've got another package here, again from Redbeard Saws. Let's check it out. This one's going to be fun. Bam! More felling dogs. And if you look closely, it's the same one I just put on my Echo 2500T, except for this one, we are going to put this on my DCS-2500T Electric, oh yeah, the battery goes in there, electric chainsaw. Because if you look at the felling dogs that are on this one here, right there, they are the same ones that came off of the 355T. So I'm going to attempt to put these bad boys on the saw. Let's get right at it. All right. This electric chainsaw that I have from Echo, the DCS-2500T, is very good. It's very good for limbing while you're up in the tree, and it does a really good job. It's got a lot of torque to it and cuts through pretty quick, so really happy with the way that's functioning right now. This chainsaw has gotten a lot of use out of it over the last week, so it has not been cleaned again since its last use, but that shouldn't impede us from getting this dogs onto the chainsaw. So what we're going to do here is just going to remove all this. Might have to maneuver that to get the bar off. And that came off real easy. It's a 12-inch bar. Really like it. And get the chain off. We'll just put that over here. And then I'm going to go ahead and clean this up before I start back in on it, because a lot of this debris is going to fall into the table here. So give me a second and we'll be right back. I've gone ahead and did a quick cleanup of the saw here, as you can see, and it looks much better than it was just a few seconds ago, and we're going to continue on. One might ask, why the heck are you putting these huge felling dogs on this tiny little electric saw that's just made for limb cutting while you're up in the tree? And the simple answer is because I can. I thought it would be pretty neat to see, number one, if this would fit on here, and number two, if there would be any practical reason to have that on an electric saw and use it as an upgrade. And that's really the only reason. And maybe some of you out there in digital land will get some humor out of this for this old man putting these huge felling dogs on a tiny electric saw here. So we're going to continue at it and see how this turns out. And I believe this is a T25, if I remember it correctly, from the last one that we did. And I still have this one left over from last time. So we are just going to see if we can get this turned off here. Yep, it's coming right up. Working out really nice. Oops, get that one here. That was pretty straightforward. Much easier than the 355T. Let's open these new dogs up and see how they fit. So we'll just cut this across here. Okay. Bam. Open that up. At first glance here, the holes line up, but if you look real closely at the bottom here, there's this little lip. And I think that might be to hold the bar in place. So I've got to take a closer look to see if that's going to impede me being able to use this felling dogs as they stand. So stay tuned on that. All right, I took a closer look at this little extruded part here on the plastic, and the original dogs, when they're in place here, the metal actually becomes just about flush with the top of this here, and it really doesn't have any purpose to hold these dogs in place, but it does give you an area where you can line it up correctly. But it is just about flush as I run my finger over it here. And if you look at the thickness of this felling dogs, the original ones, compared to the thickness of the new ones, it's quite the difference. The new felling dogs are about double, if not triple, the thickness of the old one. So what I believe I am going to be able to do here is I can probably take a file and file this flush with this place here, and then this will fit into place and I'll be able to screw these in correctly. So that's what I'm going to do right now, and I'll just bring the file over so I can show you that, and then I'm actually going to do that off camera, and then we'll show you the finished part of that. You see that where that mark is on that corner? That's about where I'm going to file all of this back. I'm going to make it flush with this piece here. And then if we line the dogs up with the holes, that's just about where it's going to line up. You can see there. So that should work out pretty good. Yeah, there we go. All right, so what I've got here is, what I have here is a file, bam. And I'm just going to take this and do it off camera, but essentially what I'm going to do here is I'm going to file this down like this, as you can see here, until this little nub here becomes flush with this piece of the plastic. I'm continuing to file this little piece down. It's not completely flush yet, but you're getting the idea here that I'm just doing it like this, a little more aggressively than that, but once I get that flush, we'll put the new dogs on, so stay tuned. So I finished filing off this little nub piece that was hanging out and fitted the new dogs on there, and it fits perfectly now, and it's nice and flush. You can now see that sits flush against the housing of the chainsaw. So I'm going to go ahead and screw these in, and then we'll do a quick test here. It only took me about 10 minutes, if that, to file that little extra piece down that you saw there. Put this one on too. All right, check that out. That's awesome. And they're tight too. Yeah. So the new dogs are on there. I managed to get the bar and chain back on. It just took a few minutes there, so I didn't want to bore you with those details. It went on quite nicely, no problems. Just had to line everything up. So the chain is on there now, and let's just turn this around so you can see what this looks like. And I have to admit, on my little electric saw, those dogs look awesome. Let's get a close-up view of that. Check that out. It's quite humorous, actually. You know, I've got this little 56-volt electric saw. We took these cheap dogs off that were on there, which is these, and we put these massive ones on that you would usually put on a larger saw. And I gotta tell you, they look pretty awesome. Really happy with that. So let's just make sure that everything lines up correctly. You can see here on the edge that it's flush now with the housing of the chainsaw. It went in quite nicely. They are snug and they are not going to move. And let's go test it out on some wood here and see what that looks like. Okay, I'm just outside my garage here in this wooded area on my property. If you remember, there's the remnants of that huge tree that we took down a few weeks back. And This is just one of those pieces that fell off from another tree here. Probably way the heck up there. In fact, well, I don't know which one it is, but anywho, this is a perfect size for the electric saw to take down. It's about the size that you're gonna find in a tree when you're climbing up and limbing. It's probably 4 inches diameter at the end over there, and then maybe 5 and maybe 6 over there once you get to the end. But it's already off the ground here, so that should be able to dig into that quite nicely. So I'm gonna set up the camera here and see if we can give you a good view of what that might look like. That's pretty good. All right, house slippers and all. Here's the saw. You can see it's got the dogs in it right here. This is gonna be so cool. So let's check it out. Digs in, man. It really digs in. That's cool. One of the things that this saw has is if you put too much pressure on the log, it will actually stop working, which is a great safety feature. So I was pressing a little bit too hard on it. The dogs are definitely digging in as they're supposed to, and we'll just cut a few more here and see what that looks like. That's pretty awesome. All right, I'm gonna give you a different view over here. Try this right here. Make sure that looks pretty good. Yep, all right, check this out. All right, I'm gonna keep going here. I got a few more. Let's put that safety on. Give myself a little bit of leverage here. There we go. All right. That's all she wrote. I got a bunch of cuts on there. My slippers are all filled with sawdust. And what I will say is this. The dogs definitely grip in to the wood quite nicely. The only thing is because it's such a small diameter that you're not getting huge leverage with these dogs on it as you would with the smaller ones, because with the smaller ones you're going to be real close up to the wood here, especially when you're limbing. You're going to be right up against it, and the smaller dogs, at least at this point, may do a slightly better job at that. But I can see this being really handy is if the diameter of the wood that you're cutting down is more than like 4 inches. So if you have like a 6-inch piece of wood that you're going to be cutting through, or a 6-inch limb that you're going to be cutting through, this will definitely work better. For the smaller pieces, yeah, you'd want to have maybe the smaller ones on, or get the smaller pieces in between the dogs here as you're cutting it. And that way, this doesn't really get in the way. So overall, is there a lot of value here by using a larger dog on a little limbing tree saw? Don't know yet. I think once I get up in this tree over here, the one with the Y in it there, the Y at the Union, I'll have a better idea. That's if I take this saw up there. But I think for now, we're gonna leave this one on, and we're gonna test it out for a little bit. And if it does not work out the way I am expecting it to, then we can always go ahead and put the original dogs back on the saw. That's where we're going to leave this one at. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed this, got some value out of it. Let me know in the comments what you think, and we'll go from there. So until next time, peace out.